Hello, everyone, and welcome to March's Cooking from the Heart. I am your host, Danielle Motley-Lewis. And this month, we are continuing to celebrate Women's History Month. We have an amazing show for you, a show that I've honestly been a little bit scared to have, but I'm honored to have my sisters here with me to help me through this process. So we will be talking about becoming a plant-based vegan woman. And we'll even talk about the difference between the two. So before we get started, let's recap. We know that our hemp tarts, they are an excellent source of plant-based protein. We know that they are an excellent source of essential fatty acids. We know that they are rich in calcium and iron and just a complete whole food. So we've learned on our shows before that food is our first medicine, okay? What we put in our bodies matters. We know that, yes, hemp hearts are an excellent superfood, the number one superfood. If we were stranded on a desert island and only had hemp hearts and a little bit of water, of course, we would survive because we have everything we need packed into that little bitty seed. So food is always our first medicine. What we put into our bodies matters. And my mother told me something a couple of years ago that I've been living by. She would tell me, Danny, I live to eat. I don't eat. No, I eat to live. Sorry, I eat to live. I don't live to eat. And that's when she started transitioning her diet. So I am very happy to have a sister here with me who has recently gone plant-based with herself and her entire family, Miss Tamika Range. Why don't you join me, Tamika? Hi, Tamika.
Good evening.
How are you today?
I am doing good, adulting.
Yeah, aren't we all? Aren't we all? But we have 60 minutes together to just relax, connect, and reflect and help each other build and grow. So
Yeah.
I'm honored to be in this virtual space with you. Tell me, well, I know who you are. And I didn't do a formal introduction because you've been on the show and everyone knows that you're the right hand to everything. So, but for those who may not know who Tamika Range is, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I am live from Orlando, Florida, but I'm originally from Brooklyn. I am from first generation American. I'm a first generation American from Jamaican parents.
Mhm.
And a few years ago, well, I've been in Florida for over 20 years, so I can now call myself a Floridian. And a few years ago, I shifted my attention to cannabis. So, cannabis is now my fourth career. I've been through real estate, I've been through private equity, I've been through securities, I've been through the law. And now, cannabis law is now my fourth career.
All of that at the age of 25. Isn't that amazing? I mean, come on. I
Oh,
love it.
you are
Go
way
on.
behind. You are way behind. And so now I focus on cannabis and advocacy initiatives and policy creation for patients, businesses, and social justice issues. I have my boutique law firm, which provides legal and consulting services to businesses both in and outside of the cannabis and hemp industry.
Okay.
And I'm the co founder and general counsel of Art 420. I
Mm.
am a prior art adjunct professor at FAMU College of Law, where I taught cannabis law and social justice.
Okay.
And, so I do keep an eye out for at my adjunct position details. And I'm also an author. I'm a wife, as you said. I'm a mom of four, and
Mhm.
I'm an unschooling mom, and I
Okay.
love DIY projects and creating things. So that's why there's so many things going on. There's always
Yes.
creative energy coming through, and then it pushes me to go into that direction. So that's just a little bit about me.
Thank you for sharing. And I even learned, I thought I knew everything. I thought I was, Tamika Range's number one fan, but thank you for schooling me in your introduction. But so that everyone is clear and everyone knows, what's your relationship with hemp and pork?
I am the chief legal officer for HEMP&fork. Yes,
Okay. All right. Thank
I
you.
thought that was in the title. Oh, it isn't. Okay.
It's not today, but thank you for letting folks know.
Yes.
So today we're talking about becoming a vegan or plant-based woman. Let's first start with those two terms. What's the difference between being vegan and being plant-based?
So plant-based is when your diet solely consists of foods that consist of the plant. There's no processed or packaged foods or anything like that. So while plant-based diets don't necessarily eliminate animal products, they focus on eating mostly plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. Where I'm plant-based. Vegan is also used as well, which eliminates all animal products. Indicates that animals are there's no meat or eggs or honey or any animal products, and I guess that's where the differentiation is, because I use honey. I use honey instead of sugar.
Yeah.
I don't eat meat. I don't eat eggs. I don't eat a lot of dairy and things of that nature. But I do eat honey, which derives from an animal.
Right, right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for schooling us and explaining the difference between the two. So when did you first make the transition to a plant-based lifestyle, and why did you make that decision to do so?
Oh, well, the decision was made in 2018 when I had an extremely life-changing, life-altering event that happened in my life, which is the reason why I am now an author. I wrote a children's book about explaining pregnancy loss to children, because that was the fate of my family in 2018. And so I say I have 4 children, but I have 3 and 1 that I carry in my heart. And in 2018, I lost my daughter after being pregnant at 6 months, and it was from preeclampsia. It was my salt levels were too high. I was swollen. It was just a really bad situation. My diet was not healthy, and I'm not. It wasn't that my diet was really bad from before, but I just ate whatever I wanted to eat without really regard of looking at what was in my food, just as long as it tasted good. I really didn't think about the benefit or the harms of what it was. I had a pretty lean diet. I only ate chicken and fish, and mainly fish. So I just thought that, I was in the right direction, and that is not what happened. And it forced me to really take a step back and look at what my body actually needed, and what I was actually giving it, and what I was deficient in.
Thank you for sharing that. So after you made the transition, did you notice any immediate changes in your energy level or your weight or mood, or what changes did you notice immediately?
Well, not really in my weight. I'm pretty the universe has pretty blessed me with a consistent weight, but my energy, the way how I felt afterwards, after eating, it was absolutely night and day from how I felt before. And it just, you just naturally notice that you feel lighter after a meal, no matter how much you ate. There was no itis feeling, or that heavy feeling after you eat. I got to sit down. It really, it was not there. After I ate, I still wanted to go back and work, which generally after lunchtime, you're kind of like, I need a nap. I need a siesta. You know? But it really made a big difference in how you physically felt there after changing my diet.
All right. So you've already mentioned you're a wife, you're a mother. So I know you didn't make this journey on your own. What has been the most challenging part of transitioning your entire family to a plant-based lifestyle?
Oh goodness. Well, children have a deep memory, a very deep, even though they're so young, they remember. The most challenging part is to get them to transition off of what they're used to eating. It's difficult for adults, and we think that we're so ingrained, but children are very ingrained. They've developed a taste.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's probably been the most difficult part, is getting the buy-in. And texture, it's really a texture issue. The texture in meats is very different when you go to plant-based, and so
Mm-hmm.
in certain things that kind of mimic that texture has been the strongest winning um,
Mm-hmm.
way to get them to buy into the meal. Snacks have really been the easiest to transition. Breakfast and desserts have been the most fun, but
Okay.
dinner has been the most challenging, since that's generally where the meats come in, right? And different things. So they
Okay.
haven't noticed like the substitution of the flour, where I've taken
Mm-hmm.
white flour and I've put almond flour. They don't notice
Mm-hmm.
that. They don't notice the change in the oils from regular vegetable oil to grapeseed oil, or
Mm-hmm.
olive oil. They don't notice that, and we've always eaten salad, so salad just got bigger. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but they really don't notice the little changes, but it's really the big, when the meat comes
Right.
in. There's no chicken, or the chicken is the fried mushroom. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, there's no bone in here.
Although it's just boneless wings, honey. Go ahead and eat. Just eat. Just eat, right?
Just eat
Just
it. It's
enjoy
good,
it.
right? It's
Just enjoy
good.
it. Okay. All right. So, what would be your number one tip for mothers who are looking to transition their families to the same type of lifestyle?
Oh goodness, have grace. Have grace with yourself. It is not easy. Because when they push back at the end of the day, it's a process. It takes time, and so it's a gradual tricking them, but also educating them so that they do get the buy-in, and that they understand what they're eating and they understand why the transition is important. Because otherwise, when they leave the home, they will go and they will eat bad. And so
Mm-hmm.
we went through that transition, and then when the kids started to feel the effects on their body, now they
Yeah.
make different decisions when they leave the home, when they're around other kids, and they see them eating different things. They're like, no, no, thank you, I don't want that, because they know and understand what
Hmm.
it's doing to their body. And
I
so,
love it.
have grace with yourself, have grace with the process. Um,
Mm-hmm.
even when your body doesn't agree with what your mind is saying, because your mind is like, no, it's been 2 months, it's been 3 months, it's been 4. Continue to give yourself grace, and then be creative when you're looking for recipes. Hemp and
Yeah.
Fork, there's a few online. They're very, very great to try, and
Mm-hmm.
love every single one of them. Plant-based recipes require a lot of prep work, so
Mm-hmm.
make it a little bit easier for yourself by planning out the week, so that you know what you need from the grocery store, and then you can also prep, cutting up vegetables, so set that extra time. um,
Okay. And do you include your children in the prepping of meals and cutting vegetables? Are they involved in that process?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've been unschooling,
Okay.
homeschooling for 7 years now, so we have a total different ship that we run here. So
Gotcha.
our kids
But it's
have
definitely a good idea to include them in the process, right?
They're
Okay.
definitely in the kitchen. They are the assistant chefs.
Okay. I love it. Well, you brought something up that I was going to wait to address later, but I don't. I want to make sure we don't miss this. So you mentioned the change in the flour. So why would you change flour? Is white flour not vegan or plant based?
White flour goes through a process, and it goes through a bleaching process, and so the chemicals, there's still chemicals in the in the
Mm-hmm.
in that type of flour. And so even if the unbleached flour is healthier, but it's still a processed flour. And so going to something that is derived more from a nut, your
Mm-hmm.
almond flour or your spelt flour, that's really where I go to for the minerals and the nutrients that I want to continue to keep in the food that the
Okay.
kids eat and that we eat.
Gotcha. So thank you for explaining that. So it's not, it's the process. So we're trying to eliminate the foods that are highly processed. Okay. All right. So we want to bring our next sister on, Miss Nicole. Let me read her bio. Nicole Buffong began her career in cannabis after being diagnosed with HIV in March of 2017. Determined not to take synthetic drugs for the rest of her life, she went against doctor's orders, or doctor's recommendations rather, and launched her own holistic healing initiative, becoming a pioneer in the green foods movement. An entrepreneur, cannabis patient, and advocate, Nicole works as the Western Regional Director for Minorities for Medical Marijuana. And throughout her professional endeavors, Nicole leverages more than a decade, probably even longer, of experience to consult clients on the benefits of a holistic, healthy lifestyle while speaking globally about the many benefits of using plants as medicine. She's passionate about helping people understand the power of food. So that's the second time we said that. You are what you eat. Power of food and self-care, and advises individuals seeking to become a part of the legal cannabis industry, of course. Join me in welcoming Nicole. Hi, Nicole.
Hi. Thanks so much. Thank you, Danielle. Hey, Tamika.
Hey, Nicole, love you.
Mwah, love you back. Hey, ladies. Thanks for having me. I appreciate that lovely introduction, Danielle.
We are pleased to have you as our sister friend, as our hemp and fork ambassador, and everything. A rock star and everything. We won't even say it. Like, if folks were following you on IG today and knew who you were in the company of and what you were doing, and you had, and then you're showing us a little bit of time. So thank you for that.
Of course, I made sure to make time today. It's a busy day out here in Oklahoma, but I wanted to make sure I could be here. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you just fine. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First, I want to start with, so I mentioned that you were a hemp and fork ambassador. You recently did a 30-day alkaline detox.
Yes.
Can you tell our viewers a little bit more about that and your journey?
Sure, absolutely. So thanks again for having me. This journey started for me, like you said, in 2017. It's when I started doing more research about using plants as medicine. I already knew who Dr. Sebi was. So I was well aware of what an alkaline body can do, can heal itself. And so getting to that point, it's a process. Even stopping my medication has been a journey and a process. So I've been off of my medication, or off the scheduled medication, for about 9 months now. And the last 3 months, my viral load went back up. And it was because I was eating, I'm plant-based, but eating a bunch of plant-based junk food can still have negative effects. Processed foods, not eating whole foods, not cooking at home all the time. So it got a little bit out of hand. And in about a month ago, I had to go to the hospital for my kidneys. And so I had to go back on my medication because I need to get back undetectable. I need to bring my viral load back down because the virus attacks the kidneys. And so the medicine works really fast. Within a couple of weeks, I'm almost undetectable again. After being in over 21,000 with my viral load copy. And those of you who might not understand that, viral load, when you're talking about a disease like HIV, it means how much of the virus is in a drop of your blood. And so they measure that to determine how much of the virus is floating around in your body. And so I use that as my gauge to determine what I need to be doing, how much more alkaline foods I need to be incorporating. And I've been plant-based now for about 2 years, since COVID, honestly, since March of 2020. I mean, I had been plant-based before that, kind of on and off. But definitely in the last about year and a half, I got really buckled down because I knew how valuable it was to keep my immune system strong. Getting rid of HIV. I've also been living with herpes for 20 years. Getting rid of those type of viruses, it requires me to have a specific type of diet, a lifestyle that makes sure that the virus cannot thrive inside of my body. No matter how much medicine I take, it's the food as my medicine that really, really does matter. And so I take a lot of pride and value in that. And so I broke my plant-based fast for about about a week. I had about 4 meals right after I got out of the hospital because I'm very busy. I travel a lot with the organization. I manage 8 states, and I was getting ready to head to Reno, Nevada. And so as soon as I got out the hospital, a friend of mine is a vegan chef in Las Vegas, and she prepared for me a couple of dishes that use sea bass because sea bass is a low phosphorus fish. It's high in omegas. I sprinkled my hemp hearts on there and ate it with the salad, just to kind of get my energy level back up because I knew I had to travel that week. So I did a little bit of fish, very little, no dairy, nothing like that. All made at home. It wasn't anything that I bought inside of a store, so I can control my sodium level.
Okay.
And so that's important as well, of course, when we're talking about the kidneys. So I say all of that to say that plants really do heal. I don't eat fish necessarily like regularly because I've seen Seaspiracy, and I understand that the fish that we're eating is filled with microplastics, and those things cause cancer. And that's the last thing I want to have to deal with is cancer on top of what I'm already dealing with. So I keep all of those things in mind. Buying organic fruits and vegetables. I try to shop at the farmer's market as much as possible. That's important. And so this last 2 weeks now, I've been incorporating a lot of alkaline foods, eating very close to a stage 4 renal diet. I can help get my kidneys back up, get that functioning back where they need to be. And then I start that process again with coming off of the pharmaceutical medicine and just focusing on food as my medicine.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that journey. So you've mentioned what your life has been like since 2017.
Yeah.
When did you first learn about the medicinal benefits and healing of plants and herbs?
So the day that I found out that I was HIV positive, they kept me in a hospital about a week because at the time I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease because the virus was attacking my kidneys. And so those 10 days that I stayed inside the hospital, I was counting them down. I did a lot of research. I dove right in. I found, the Knox doctors talking about the endocrine. I'd never heard of the endocrine. My dad was a doctor. I always liked science and thought it was fascinating, but I'd never heard of the endocannabinoid system. Like I said, I knew who Dr. Sebi was. I knew that I was going to have to eat alkaline and live an alkaline-based lifestyle in order to heal the virus, in order to get rid of the virus.
Yeah.
So that time that I spent in the hospital, those 10 days, I came out of there feeling like, I have to become an advocate now because I did the research and the history of understanding why the plant we didn't have access to it. And because I'm first generation American as well. My mother's from Trinidad and my father's from Dominica. My father was a Rasta. So I understand fully. My grandmother kept a bottle of herbs in the back of the liquor cabinet. And, when you got sick, she would give you a teaspoon of that, or you got a cup of that with some warm tea, and the next morning you were fine. So I knew that it was always part of my nature, and now that I'm old enough to understand, those were bush. That was bush medicine. That was herbs and stuff that they got right out of the jungle, right out of their garden. Put it in some rum, and it became an elixir. It became medicine. So without me even understanding at an early age, I was exposed to it. Of course, my father, being a Rasta, he was the first adult I smoked weed with. Used cannabis as a teenager. And then now, of course, having a disease like this was really the way for me to fully engulf myself in this industry, into this lifestyle. And of course, being as transparent as I am about what I'm dealing with has just attracted my tribe to me. So it has brought those people to me that has helped, empowered me to be able to take on this lifestyle and to heal.
Thank you.
And it's important that the grace is given when the cheating happens on the diet.
Yeah.
Because there's no, or in my experience, and as seen in Nicole's experience, there's no, I'm plant-based. Okay, that's it. There's no getting off of this train. There's especially when you're traveling and you travel to a food desert, and the only option is an iceberg lettuce salad. You're going to have to eat something off of the usual to get some nutrients in you. So the grace that you have to give yourself while being on this journey. And also the most important thing is listening to your body and what your body needs.
That's right.
Our body's been tricked for so long. We grew up knowing and getting the bush medicines and not knowing what they were because they're not, we don't see them here. And, you know, we live here in the United States now where our ancestors were in the islands. So when we used to visit, we'd get it. And we'd see them using it, and they were always healthier in the islands and always living longer.
Yes,
and it was because of the bush tea and all of the bush medicines that they used.
That's right.
That we're now getting back. It's like a return. It's like Sankofa, right?
That's right.
Returning back to our heritage and bringing all those bushes back into us.
And I want to share this with your audience. The fact is that our ancestors were not vegetarians. Very little indigenous tribes and communities were actually vegetarians. They ate very little meat, but they weren't complete vegetarians. And then the other part of that is they also were sacrificing the animal in a way that was kosher. Right. They were slaughtering the animal that was in a kosher way. They were they were praying over the animal, thanking them for giving their whole tribe, whole community nourishment. It's nothing like what we see as the meat industrial system that we see today, where animals are being tortured. And that energy goes into you. You eat the meat of an animal that's been tortured. That energy, and you got to think about dairy farms. Do you know what they do on dairy farms? They're taking the babies away from the cows, from the mothers. Another form of torture that for the calves and the mothers, just so that they can milk the mother's milk. So we have to think about that. You know, I understand that what I'm eating and consuming today is not what our ancestors ate and consumed. When your grandmother had her own chickens and raising her own farm, that her own one cow that would provide milk for the whole year, that's different.
And she was feeding them on you. Granny used to make the feed for the chickens.
That's what I'm saying. You knew what they were getting. It was a full circle process, and that doesn't exist anymore. You know, even if you're living on a farm, that it's an industry. And so I just wanted to kind of share that, like understanding our ancestors weren't eating like this because they were much more respectful of the animal. They were much more respectful of the earth and what they were farming and so on and so forth. So
absolutely,
I buy organically. I buy from a farmer's market in Las Vegas. And that's why when I travel, it's a lot harder to, produce at home, all those kind of things. So it's a challenge. I do my best to try to stick to what I know makes me healthy. Every city that I go to, I found an alkaline Black-owned restaurant here. It has Dr. Sebi's in Oklahoma City, girl. It has Dr. Sebi's quotes all over the wall. I'm going to be going there for dinner tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Before we get to your dinner, let's circle back for just a moment.
Sorry.
Now we can talk forever. This should be a full 3-hour workshop, so we can talk forever. All good stuff.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier that you became an advocate. You wanted to share the knowledge and everything that you had learned. And you became a holistic coach. You became a food and medicine coach. And we have a very special guest here that we need to talk to.
Yes.
Someone that you've worked with recently. Is she still with us? Do we have Ms. Roz McCarthy here to share her journey?
There she is.
How are you? How's things going?
Hey,
good. How are you? So, Nicole, tell us a little bit about Roz.
Oh, my mentor, my sister, my auntie, I love her to death. So Roz experienced a traumatic brain injury last summer that she was not even aware of until it was almost too late. And when she called on me and asked me to come and be with her and stay with her at her home to help her through the process of making sure she was eating the right things, making sure she was taking the right medicine.
I didn't ask that first, so let me just back it up. I didn't ask her to go make sure I'm eating the right thing. I was just like, I think I'm about to die. I need you to get here. And she was like, I'm on my way. I did not know that Nicole was going to come in and go through my pantry and take out everything that was processed in my refrigerator, toss out everything that was processed. I had no idea. And I couldn't fight it because I was so freaking sick. But I didn't know that she was doing the right thing for me at the time. And then, you could take it from there. I just want to make sure.
Thank you for that.
And replace it with all good stuff. I remember that sandwich. I'm still making that sandwich, by the way.
Yes,
Nicole.
Tamika.
That's on the. Oh, that's.
I love that. I love that. No, Roz, she's right. She wasn't sure what it was going to mean when she called and asked me to come and be with her. And after 2 days, she was ready to kick me out, send me back home. It was like, "What's your mama's number so I could call her when you start getting on my nerves?" But it was important for me to impress on her how important it was for her to eat the right thing. She was dealing with her brain trying to heal. And when we're talking about our bodies trying to heal, it's important what we're putting in our bodies. Just because you can buy it on a shelf or buy it in a store, don't mean that it's not poison. Because please believe there's plenty of FDA approved things that will kill you. So I just want to say that I'm so appreciative. I'm so grateful that she has taken heed to what I had to force on her about 6-9 months ago now. But I know she sees the value in how using your food as medicine is so important.
Absolutely.
Well, in actuality, I'm still healing. I ended up having a brain, I'm sorry, not a brain, but having COVID this past December that re-triggered all of my concussion symptoms, and everything that I was going through, it has come back roaring. And unfortunately, I had slipped back into eating very wrong things, fried food, meats, everything that you can imagine I'm not supposed to have, I was eating. And I was consuming because I'm in a highly stressful position with running the organization. I'm trying to launch a brand. I'm also mom to 2 collegiate students who still, it doesn't stop after they get out the house and go to college. Like,
Mom.
On top of that, having 27 wonderful state directors and executive leadership team who are like my children, some more than others, that I have that I have to feel like I have to take care of. And so I slipped back into bad patterns and bad habits eating wise. And I 2 weeks ago was back in the hospital, and a lot of it has to do with my eating. And I will tell you now that I am a believer that I made significant change since I've come back from the hospital 2 weeks ago, where I can't go back and I can't retract. So people that are here, the plant saved my life, but it was the addition and the recognition of understanding what I was putting in my body that's going to give me longevity so that I can be here for a long term and not a short term. And it is a work in progress every day, but day by day, it's getting easier and easier when I make my choices. Now, I still eat meat, so I'm not vegan, but some of the things in regards to the process, my muffin, my donut, my bread intake, all of that stuff, I put it to the side. I think, and Nicole, you might have an opinion on this. I think I was gluten intolerant. Because once someone told me, like, Raj, you might be allergic to gluten. And when I looked at it, like, I have more energy now that I've taken out gluten out of my diet, and so I'm looking at things and seeing what it has in there. And I never did this before, not on my own. Like when Nicole did it, she was there kind of catering and taking care of me, but being conscious like right now. And so honestly, for those that are listening, and as you guys are writing comments, and make sure you're sharing this story and sharing this broadcast. But it really, I'm excited about the opportunity with hemp and incorporating hemp hearts into my diet in a way that's going to help me to contain and to maintain and to and just to feel better. But I do feel a whole lot better, and I'm going to keep on the track, Nicole. Keep on track, Danielle, Tamika. I'm a case study. If I can get this right, anybody can do it.
That's right.
I think we are case studies.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's just a trial and error. And the hemp hearts are a great item for me to use for the protein. Because then when you take meat out, you got to add something in. Absolutely. And so that's why it's a trial and error, and so important for you to listen to your body, because your body's going to tell you when something's not right. And when you do get into those moments where you cheat, your body's still gonna tell you, I don't like this.
Right.
it's just not going to be a fun cheat. Oh, you're going to feel it. Your body ends up learning how to process differently, and then when you put the bad stuff back in, you sometimes instantly feel the, oh, this is not
sometimes, before you can even finish the meal. Your
Yes.
head start hurting, your stomach start
Yes.
blubbling.
Yes.
You're like, oh
Your
Lord,
head
why
is
did I
like-
do that? Oh no. I think one of the things that, like you said, Tamika, giving yourself grace, listening to your body, that's so important, because I also am anemic. I was born anemic. And so I have low iron. And so that's one of the things that I also have to deal with when I'm thinking about the food that I'm eating, because I don't want to take iron pills. They cause constipation. I don't want to drink liquid iron. It's poison. So
it's horrible.
It's horrible for your body. So I have to think about my iron intake along with making sure I'm eating the right foods to keep my kidneys healthy. Make sure I'm eating the right foods to keep the virus from duplicating in my body. And so it's a constant commitment. You can't take a day off. You're cheating because you're listening to your body. Listening to your body your body craves sugar, but instead of eating that white processed sugar, you should be picking up a piece of fruit. So you have to understand how to, tackle these, the cravings that you get when you're coming off of meat, keeping dried fruits and dried nuts in your house instead of chips and those processed things like that. That it's a lifestyle change. And that's why you can't just call it a diet. It is definitely a lifestyle change, because it requires you to change the way that you think about food.
And one of the other important things that is really, really, really important, and I know we're talking about alkaline, but the type of water that we drink, alkaline water and spring water, it really should be the only type of water that we put into our bodies that have the natural minerals to give us the really the vitamins that we need. Just drinking water just to drink water.
Yes.
That's not what we're doing moving forward as we're getting educated. We're drinking the right type of water to make sure that we're getting we're drinking the bougie water, as I've been deemed and dubbed as I go out and ask for water. But you have to drink the right water to make sure that we're getting the right minerals and nutrients in our body, the right electrolytes naturally, not used into the water.
And that's not Gatorade, y'all. She's not talking about Gatorade. She's not talking about the flavored waters. They got all that stuff in it. No, she's talking about the bougie waters that cost $6 a bottle for a 20-ounce bottle of water, because hydration is definitely important. I live in the desert. I live in Las Vegas. So I didn't drink water ever before in my life until I moved to the desert. A lot of times when I'm getting a twinge of a headache, I take some water. It's because I'm dehydrated.
Right.
You can't feel if it's dehydrated. It needs that water to keep everything fluid.
Well, ladies, I will tell you that.
One last thing, we don't have to be boring about the water. We could drop some strawberries, pineapples, lime. Lime is really what we really need to get, the mucus and all the other stuff out. That lime, that key lime.
Absolutely.
But we can have fun with it. We have fun with it.
Indeed. I will say that each and every one of you has inspired me. I consider myself a flexitarian. I've been teetering on the edge for so long, and I was so resistant to having this show, because I'm like, okay, they're just gonna take me over to their side and I'm gonna be plant-based by the weekend. But to hear Roz say that she has made, I'm inspired. Let's do it, Roz.
Listen, if I can do it, so I'm not committed to being I guess I'm flexitarian as well. I don't know what I just know that I had to cut out the thought, like I was doing every morning. I think going to the office, I was getting an orange juice, snack and bacon, and a blueberry muffin from the local Dunkin' Donut, right?
Sugar.
Yeah, right. So,
not the bacon.
Yeah, the snack and bacon and so I was getting all that, and just even my choices throughout the day or what have you. And so, and I don't know, it's just all of a sudden I had my body just shut down on me, and all the symptoms from my concussion came back so strong. And I know it has to do something with diet, because it's now going on 2 weeks and like 2 days now since I've been have transitioned, and I feel so much better. I'm still dealing with concussion, fogginess, memory, but the actual I had some things like, just even sleep, in regards to, I think I was on the verge of having sleep apnea, and like that has gone, like, so a lot of things that are coordinated, like we take for granted, and we're like just living our life and just, I don't know, just feeding ourselves in order to feel better, because we're so, some days I'll be so stressed here in the office. I got so much going back to back. I would just take off and go find the fattiest thing I could eat to satisfy that craving. I was just tired and I was exhausted, and I just wanted to feel good for a second. And so recognizing that and being able to now make better choices. So like for last night, my snack was a rice cake, peanut butter, and cranberries on top.
Okay. Look at that, girl.
And it was really good.
And it was good. I think it's important to talk about the fact that I would love for the short-term goal or the long-term goal for Roz to like come off of your blood pressure medicine. That's possible. You change your diet, you change your lifestyle, and all of those pills will go away, because you have more control over all of your bodily functions and keeping it balanced based on what you're putting in your body. So we didn't get you there too, Roz.
That is so true. If I did not change my diet after I lost my daughter, I would be on blood pressure meds. That was the alternative. They're like, look, you're you're anemic, and you're gonna be on high blood sugar. I was released with 2 different types of pills for my high blood pressure, and I was like, I'm not taking pills for the rest of my life. In addition to checking my pressure every day, I can check my pressure every day, but I'm not doing the pills, the water pills. And so it forced me to have to say, okay, what am I going to take out? What am I going to take out? But I did not go into it looking at the labels, like, okay, I'm going to be plant-based or I'm going to be vegan.
Right. Okay.
The labels really don't. We get caught up on the labels, and then it puts too much pressure on us to actually just function and listen to our bodies. So I can't say I'm vegan, but then I eat honey, and that's the only thing that takes me out of the vegan bucket.
Right. Right.
But then if somebody says, "Are you vegan?" and I say no, they're like, "Well, she still eats meat," and I'm like, "Well, actually, I don't." So it's
Well, thankfully, we have someone that we're bringing on next, our plant-based sister, Miss Tamiko Garner. So I'm going to say thank you to Roz McCarthy.
Thank you
so much for stopping by. We appreciate you sharing your journey. You're an inspiration. I really am.
I'll be back.
I'm with you.
I'll tell you, about 50 pounds, girl. It's going to be a situation. So I see you guys.
All right. Hot Girl Summer Part 2. I love it. So let's introduce our next guest, Tamiko Garner. So she's the plant-based vegan diva. Sister. Sorry, I'm going to call her a diva though. So she changed her health story from what traditionally happens in her family, with diabetes occurring after age 50, high blood pressure, and digestive types of cancers. After being a vegetarian for over 30 years, she picked up a book called A Plant-Based Life and decided to start eating a plant-based diet. She gave up her cheese, she gave up her eggs, her milk, chocolate, and her ice cream. On this journey, not only did she release 30 pounds, she also released the emotional baggage that was associated with those 30 pounds, and she was able to wear her heels again. Tamiko is now certified with Forks Over Knives, and she loves sharing what she's learned, recipes that she's tried, and other tidbits of information with others who are looking to discover and try a plant-based lifestyle. Tamiko, why don't you join us? Hello.
Yay. Oh my God, that was a great bio. I'm like, can I get a copy of that? Like, who's that person? What are you talking about?
Right, who is that? So thank you so much for joining us.
Do it again?
I said, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am totally honored. And hearing the stories of Tamieka and Nicole, I am just blown away. I feel like I'm, I'm bowing queendom. Thank you guys.
Powerful women.
Awesome.
Powerful women. What an amazing way to end Women's History Month, even though we celebrate 365, but what an amazing way to be here together. So Tamiko, tell us, how has cooking from your childhood to present day been a part of your life and a part of your plant-based vegan journey?
Well, we've talked about before, I'm from the South. My family's from the South, right? So we used to put a little fat back in your greens, and when you make macaroni and cheese, it's macaroni and cheese. So
cheese.
right. I started my cooking journey, I guess, when I was like less than 10, like 8, 9, and I made my first pound cake from scratch. And it was like bomb. They were like, "What? You didn't make that cake?" Because have standing on top of a little stool to reach on the top of the counter, right? And so I've taken that love of just trying things out, and I got to the point where I don't really always measure stuff. You just kind of like put it. Like my aunt gave me a recipe when I was first married. I called her up and I said, "Well, how do you make sweet potato pie? I want to make my first sweet potato pie. It's Thanksgiving. Woo woo woo." "Oh, okay. Well, get yourself a yam, some milk, an egg." That was the only measurement I got. One egg.
Right.
That was the measurement. An egg.
An egg.
Vanilla extract, and butter. And then I said, "Well, how much of each one? Just put it there till it tastes right." And so ever since, that is how I make a sweet potato pie. I just put it there till it tastes right. That was it. I was like, and I wrote the recipe just like that. So I have it on a index card, and I wrote it just like that. The stuff she said, and then until it tastes right.
I have a similar recipe here in my kitchen. So tell us, have you been successful with veganizing your recipe, your sweet potato pie recipe?
Oh, yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes, I have. And I used to do these events, these vegan curious events, taste events. And it was where you had to taste a vegan version and a non-vegan version of the same food and then figure out which is which.
Okay.
And my very first event was around Thanksgiving. And I did a vegan sweet potato pie.
Okay.
And I had this guy come up at the end and say, "How much you selling that pie for?" I said, "What pie? You have no pie left." Is that vegan one? You still got a vegan one left, right? How much you selling that for? I'm sorry, sir. I'm not selling the pie because I need to get my boyfriend. But thank you. Man, you sure that wasn't no real pie? I was like, "No, that was big." I didn't even fool my daughter. My daughter don't even know that she
Fool her. So are you making the vegan pie for us today?
I am not making the vegan pie today.
What are you making for us today?
Today we are making something quick and easy and everything that you probably have in your cabinet. It is a vegan tuna. So it's chickpea tuna.
Oh, I have to see this.
And you don't have to cook anything. Nothing is cooked unless you decide to make your own garbanzo beans. And if you have an Instant Pot, you can make yourself some garbanzo beans in a matter of moments. Right. Or you can soak them overnight and cook them for minutes. But today I used organic canned beans from Trader Joe's with minimal salt. They don't have any without any salt. So I usually just rinse the salt off. And as you can see here, I have all my ingredients laid out here on the table.
Do we have the other view? Do we have the view of her other camera?
Oh, you guys got to put it there.
Yes. Okay, there we go.
Now you can see it. Presto, change your woo. You can see it.
Oh, Eric, you can take me off so we can see that. I need to see this up close and personal. You can remove me. Yeah. Okay.
Just remove everybody.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Now
this is going to create tuna. Okay.
So this is going to be a vegan tuna. So you take your chickpeas, your can of chickpeas. I've smashed them here. If you want, you can put them in a food processor, but you don't want to grind it up, real fine. You just want to grind it up so that it has a little bit of texture. So today I just use my fork and you just mash them. Just mash it so it has a little bit of texture that almost look like tuna fish? Almost, right? Okay, so you can pop that in there. Then the next ingredient is hearts of palm. Now, hearts of palm, they look like this. They look like little sticks. and they
And
come from.
do they come in the can or fresh
You put them
or?
in a can or in a jar. I
Okay.
took mine out the can and put them in this jar. I repurpose jars.
Okay.
So what I like to do, and sometimes you'll see recipes that don't necessarily include the hearts of palm. This is my adding to it. And I like to put that in there because see, doesn't it kind of look like egg whites?
It does.
So you're gonna pop that in there. You got yourself some egg whites in your tuna fish, right?
Come on now, Tamiko. Okay.
What's the tuna without that? Now here's another magical ingredient. It's called the kala namak. It's like a black Indian salt. And what this does, I don't know if you guys can. I guess I can pop it there.
We saw it in the other camera. Yes. So black Indian salt. Okay.
So what this does is it gives a sulfur taste. So it's when you smell it, it smells like sulfur, like eggs are sulfur. So anytime I want to mimic something like have eggs in it, I'm going to put a little of this salt in here. So that's what I'm putting in here because we put our hearts of palm. So I just put, I put a little bit in there, and I'll have the recipe that everybody can download the recipe. Okay. Now, the rest of our ingredients are the ingredients that you normally put in your tuna fish, right? So we got a little bit of red onion. Put a little bit in there for a little crunch. Got a little bit of fresh celery. I use one stalk. I don't usually like a lot of celery, but it's up to you. You do whatever you like. We got some relish. You can either buy the relish already done. They have a sugar-free relish, or you can just get yourself some pickles and chop up your sweet pickles, or you can put dill if you don't necessarily want it to be sweet. I kind of like a little sweet, so I like a lot of relish in mine.
Okay.
And then there's this, it's called ume vinegar. Now you can do it without, try to get that right. You can do this with or without it.
Ume vinegar.
What it is it's a fermented plum.
Okay.
And
put it in front of the camera one more time. We have a better view. Okay. Ume plum vinegar. Okay. No, we see it. We see it now.
Okay. And so that kind of gives it a little bit of a umami flavor, a little bit of salt. So you may not have to add salt because it's got a little salt to it too. But you want to be a little mindful of it, not too much because you don't want it to taste too vinegary. So it can get a little, so I just put like a dab in there. And if I feel like I want more, I'll put a little bit more. Right. And then I do my Dijon mustard. What is that? Or if you want, you can do regular yellow mustard, like. Then I have a vegan meal, which my favorite is Follow Your Heart. This is my favorite. This is a soy-free version. They have a soy-free version. There's a regular version, and then they got one with avocado oil. So there's different ones. You can get it at your local grocery store.
Okay.
So I put my mayo in there. Now, another way that you can make this to be totally without any process is you could use, there's a recipe that I have for a whole food plant-based vegan sour cream. And then you can use that instead of using a mayonnaise. Gives it a nice creamy texture. It's made from cashews. Delicious. I poured that in there. Oops. Okay. And then I've got a little bit of pepper, of course. If you want to have a little kick to your tuna, little red pepper. Ooh.
Okay.
No, black pepper. No, I'm sorry, that wasn't black pepper. That was what I call kelp plant granules. So because this is like fish, right? I keep doing this wrong. Okay, there we go. So
okay.
There, I gotta go that way. That's opposite.
Kelp.
It's kelp granules. Now you can either use these kelp granules or you can use nori sheets that look like this, which are sea vegetable. Okay. And what you want that's going to give you that extra seafood flavor. Okay. And then if you want, I'm gonna put up a little bit of salt in there, not much because I put that other in there. And then we have included everything in here. Now watch how this is going to start to transform and look like some tuna.
I see it.
Can you see that already?
I do. You know what? You could have fooled me if I didn't watch this video.
I'm just saying. It is.
You could have fooled. So how long have you been making this particular dish, the vegan tuna?
Oh my gosh, I've been making this for a minute.
Okay. So it's one of the first that you've perfected. Have you shared it with
it's
others?
one of the first ones. And I got the recipe started from a cookbook. I love sweet potato soul. I follow sweet potato soul. Okay. So it was her recipe, but then I added my own little tweaks as because I said, oh wait, hearts of palm. Oh wait a minute, hold on. She didn't put her palm. She didn't put the black salt in there. So I had my own little juice, and that's how.
Okay.
And that's what I say about vegan cooking, plant-based cooking is to have fun. Have fun in the kitchen, experiment. I've had some flops. I've had some stuff like, oh, that didn't come out good. So that is it. You see how quick and fast that was? The longest it's gonna take you is to chop your red onion and your celery, and then you're gonna pop that all in there. Now, you can eat this several different ways. You can, if you are eliminating your bread, you can make this, put it in a romaine lettuce leaf.
Okay.
And then what this does is this gives you it's nice and fresh and crisp. And if you want to add a little extra to it, go ahead and put yourself an avocado. If I can get it out of there, right across the top.
That looks delicious.
You want to add a little more. And if you want to add a little bit more to it, you can, just stick yourself a few little flakes on the top. Have at it. Or you can go ahead and eat it with these gluten-free crackers. Have yourself some crackers.
That looks delicious. And of course, you can sprinkle some hemp hearts over to add that.
Sprinkle some hemp hearts over that. Exactly. As a matter of fact, I have my hemp hearts right here. Boom.
Okay.
And you can take
that
it.
Looks good.
Right across here. As a matter of fact.
I really do want to try that. Now, what would you say? Like, what advice would you give to those who are watching, who may be intimidated by like all of these different ingredients that they have to buy and trying to transition to be plant-based? What advice would you give them?
Well, I would say first start out with things that are familiar, right? You can start and create vegan things with stuff that you probably already have in your refrigerator, in your cabinet, right?
Okay.
Without feeling like you've got to buy a bunch of things. Like you can make this tuna fish and not have this vinegar. You can make it without this. You don't have to. Okay. And as you can see, everything else was easy to follow in the store. You probably have most of this stuff in your cabinet, with except for maybe garbanzo beans if you don't eat garbanzo beans. But I want to say the one thing I would suggest is that everybody keep yourself a can of black beans and some garbanzo beans, and because you can eat on some garbanzo beans and make all kinds of stuff. You can make tacos. You can make yourself some croutons. You can make a curry. You can make a masala. You can a stew, anything, crab cakes. So this is actually almost the base to make vegan crab cakes.
Okay.
And Tabitha Brown had my vegan crab cakes and she loved them.
Oh, I didn't know that. I think I'm gonna need to make a trip down to where you at, Daly City again, South San Francisco. I need to drive across the bridge tonight and come for dinner. I love it.
Okay. Garbanzo beans are a must. We do not go without garbanzo beans in the house.
You just cannot. You cannot. There's just no way. And I was gonna tell you, I did find a recipe to make with these hemp hearts, and it's a hemp heart pesto, really easy with some basil, some Parmesan cheese. I use a vegan Parmesan cheese.
Okay.
Garlic, olive oil, and a little bit of kosher salt. And you can take that. See, I have all the ingredients right here. Boom. You take all that and then pop it in a food processor.
Okay.
And
so, Tam, I understand that you just launched a Vegan Curious program, a 2-day plan. Tell us about that.
So
Tell
it's called
our viewers about that.
Okay. So of course, I have to do the little song that goes with it. It's called Vegan for the Weekend. You're going vegan for the weekend. Come on and give it a try. So anyway. I love it. Old school. Okay. So what that is you are getting a plan that will give you don't have to just do it over the weekend. It could be for 2 days. And with it comes recipes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and a dessert. And I also include a cooking video of one of the dish recipes that's in there, as well as a video letting you know 5 ways to make it, 5 tips to make it through the weekend. So, or through your 2 days on starting out. So it's really simple, real easy, and it's all laid out for you. You don't even have to do nothing but go to the grocery store, because I'm even giving you the grocery list. And a little meal plan sheet. You don't have to do nothing but go to the grocery store and cook the food.
That sounds easy to me. So, and I understand we have 2 of those to give away to those who are our viewers. We have 2 to give away, right?
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. So let's do a trivia question. So in the chat, I see we have folks that are engaged. How many grams of protein are in 1 serving of hemp hearts? Who can answer that question? If you can type it right in the chat. How many grams?
Not us. Okay.
It's for the viewers. It's super. I will tell you that it's less than 10 and more than 7. Less than 10 and more than 7. Emily, great guess, but a little less. Less than.
It is in my picture, Melissa.
Okay, Melissa, you are the winner.
Yay,
So there's
Melissa.
9 grams of protein in 1 serving, which is 3 tablespoons of our hemp hearts. So Melissa, you won a vegan for a weekend plan with a Tamiko Garner. So if you would send us a message and with your contact information, make sure we have your email address. We will send that plan right over to you. Okay.
Hey, Melissa. Congratulations, Melissa. She's been following me for a long time. So congratulations, Melissa.
Congrats,
Awesome. That's what
gonna
what
be
were you
eating
saying,
good.
Melissa?
I said, congratulations. She gonna be eating good. Look at what Tamiko made. I'm hungry. I want exactly that right now. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That was it's just so amazing. It looks so crispy and fresh. And
It
that's
does.
the best
It looks.
thing about plant-based is the food is fresh.
Mhm.
And you made a very, very critical point is that most of the times we have everything in our house. We're just not used to putting those different things together. But when you look at a recipe, you're like, oh, this is all it takes. I have these 6 random things in the house. I could put this together.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Make it too complicated. Keep it simple.
Is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers, Tamiko, before you go?
Yes, the one thing I want to share is I want everybody to take the time and enjoy the journey, right? Instead of getting yourself stressed out and, oh my God, am I going to have this? Just enjoy the journey and have fun, because it's going to, as our guests here today have spoken, it's going to have twists and turns. You might make a left turn, a right turn, a U-turn. Shoot, you might have to just come on all the way back. It's okay. And like what Tamika mentioned, give yourself grace. But I just say, have fun, enjoy, play, have an open mind. More than anything, have an open mind and be willing to try. And I say that open mind because, there are different things out there on the market that are like meat alternatives and stuff like that. And even if you are going when you start to go whole food plant-based, you're moving away from those processed foods, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could be a little crutch if you're getting started. You want to, just kind of move on into it. But when you eventually move over, like what Tamika mentioned about the chicken being the oyster mushroom.
Yeah.
Well, I say that open mind is so that you understand the textures aren't going to be exactly the same. But here's what I have to say. The same meat has no flavor either. You ever eat some meat by itself? Okay, so what is making your food taste good is the seasonings and the way which you cook it. Okay.
Absolutely.
So you open your mind to how it's going to the flavors. I know the texture may not necessarily be there. That's where you have to open your mind. But if you just think about the taste, the flavors, if I'm making barbecue chicken and I'm still using that same barbecue and I'm putting on that mushroom, God dog, I think I got my barbecue chicken.
Right.
I'm just saying, we just make it too hard. We try to make it so difficult, and it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be. But that's my 2 cents.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. So for those who are watching, you heard me mention we have 2 of these plans to give away. We've given away one of them. The other one, we're going to give it away via our Instagram account tonight. So you must follow us at hempandfork.com over on Instagram. If you're not already following us, we will post details about the other giveaway within the hour. And, you have to connect with us this evening in order to get that other plan. Tamika, thank you so much for being here with me and helping me host the show. Do you have any parting words for our viewers today?
It was my honor. It's always an honor to be here with you, Danielle, and definitely an honor to be here with Tamiko. I'm not a tuna lover, but I am definitely going to try that recipe because I love my garbanzo beans, and now I see another way that I could play with it. But to the viewers, the being on this journey, plant-based vegan, is time-consuming, but give yourself just an extra 10 minutes. Open up your mind on where you can possibly buy different produce for the expense. Go to your local shops, go to your Asian markets, go to your local markets, your big box markets, and you can find for your farmers markets, your Sunday markets that just on Sundays or once a week, and you get cheaper produce there. And it's most of the times it's grown locally, so it's better for you.
Absolutely.
The number one thing is just give yourself grace. It's a journey. It's not I'm going to start on April 1st and right.
But, for those who, when this coaching plan, they can't start on April 1st. I'm very tempted. I told Tamiko when I spoke to her when we were prepping for the show, my hardest thing, I know this may sound so crazy, but I'm addicted to butter. I'm not even addicted to bread. I gave up bread years ago because I've been following the paleo lifestyle, but it's butter. Something about butter. It's like,
we got tricks for that. We have tricks for that. We have tricks for that.
So I can not eat meat, but I need butter. God is working with me, so
It's a process.
So April 1st is tomorrow. We can start tomorrow. We can start this vegan for a weekend, do some prep, go and do some shopping. For those the one person, Melissa, who won the first package, you will receive a bag of our hemp hearts, of course, along with that program. And the other one will be given out this evening. Additionally, we want to remind you about a sale that we have that it starts today, ends today. Our last day of Women's History Month, we have a flash sale for you. So for $22, you can get 2 bags. There we go. 2 bags of our hemp hearts. So if you buy these regularly, you know that that's an amazing deal and you should stock up for a couple of months. So go to our website, hemp&fork.com, 2 for $22. Additionally, I have an announcement about our name. I'm a little conflicted with this because I love the name of our show, but we are changing, we're evolving, we're growing. And next month, our show will no longer be known as Cooking from the Heart. It will simply be known as Cooking with Hemp and Fork. So it's just lots of behind the scenes conversation and reasons for that. But just so you know, it's the same show. I'm the same host, same company. And we hope to see you next month. That's all we have for you today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Remember, connect with us on Instagram. Head to the website to get that 2 for $22. And we'll see you all online and next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.